Welcome to my spoiler review with Joker Folie et Deux, who commemorating the character's first appearance in Batman number 1 85 years ago. It's going to be a doozy of a review, which is saying something from the conversation on the last movie, so let's begin. Admittedly, from opens on the scene I actually like, and made recap of the previous movie's events done in the style of classic Looney Tunes cartoons entitled Me and My Shadow. Regrettably, the beatdown by authorities snaps us back to reality. The year is 1983, 2 years after the events of the first film. Arthur Fleck is in Arkham, awaiting trial for his crimes as the Joker. For all the film's shortcomings, Joaquin Phoenix carries the movie on his performance much as he did before. He doesn't recommend the extreme weight loss to play the role, though. It is actually a great rendition of For Once in My Life in the Common Room. The movie is also anchored by a strong supporting cast, much like before. Most prominent is Harleen Lee Quinzel, played by Lady Gaga. There's something of kindred spirits singing together in a hospital chorus group. One highlight is never from That's Entertainment, the same movie playing when she ends up starting a fire in the screening room. Honestly, Gaga is fantastic in this film, and I'm among many who were dismayed, honestly, that she wasn't more prominent. Her rendition of If My Friends Could See Me Now is another standout scene, even if I'm not certain this riot on the streets of Gotham is entirely real. The supporting cast as a whole is another strong point in this film, again, even if they might underused. I had appreciation for Steve Coogan for ages, and he could have used more to do. There's also Catherine Keener as Arthur's attorney, who he later fires to represent himself as Joker, doing his best impression of Foghorn Leghorn. Admittedly, this does lead to the best scene in the film, both Gary and Sophie testifying in court. This also confirms what was said after the first movie's events. He let them both live because they were the only ones who showed him kindness. Still, just because they weren't physically harmed by the Joker, it doesn't mean they escaped with their psyches unscathed. Another number I like is the sequence to like an old variety show, Whether Do I Have to Love Somebody by the Bee Gees. I also think this movie should have had more sequences like this, especially as parallels to the court aspects. Think the stage and film version in Chicago in the DC universe are you not too far off the mark. Regarding the beatdown in the showers at Arkham, it's been done. Brendan Gleeson is a great performer either way still. They do have a great cover of What the World Needs Now by Burt Bacharach that comes up more than once in the movie. As for Harley expecting a child and suggesting that the Joker is the father, there was a conjugal visit in an earlier scene. Honestly, I haven't seen this ruse used so flagrantly since Lisa tried it on Johnny in the Room, only slightly as bizarre. That is a great arrangement of the Carpenters close to you either way. When Arthur declares there is no Joker and the courthouse is bombed, with Harvey getting scarred in the blast, one critique that does have merit is this. There is a line where dark and dramatic for the sake of it just becomes dull, and this film crossed it for many. The escape and all the chaos is also a strong one, especially since the bulk of the crew from the last movie is back. The main problem is that the story isn't as effective as the first time around, even with the same writers involved. One or two new elements could have complemented the crime drama and psychological thriller aspects of the last movie. It was just too much to add all the aspects of prison drama, courtroom drama, and jukebox musical, all at once. I would have been fine with the TV movie they kept mentioning about the case, which had Justin Theroux in the title role. To be completely honest, they didn't lose me with Arthur getting recaptured and shivved. They lost me right before that. But I would have been eager to see how the movie could flip the script on the usual dynamic between Joker and Harley. Instead, we get a reprise of That's Entertainment and Harley saying goodbye to Arthur on the stairs from before. Basically, it's her saying, "It's not me, it's you." So, instead of dwelling on Arthur getting iced by someone who may or may not be his replacement. I will share my alternate ending before my closing thoughts in three major facets. First, Harvey would still be scarred by the courthouse getting bombed, but the aftermath would lead to him becoming Two-Face. He would, of course, still have his lucky coin, damaged by the blast. Instead of just lying down in the rubble, so we start his own criminal journey. Second, there would still be the final scene in the Hall at Arkham, but it would play out differently. Rather than someone who may or may not be the villain from the Nolan trilogy, Harley would use her degree to slip in posing as a doctor, then busting back out into crime by forging a paper trail that Arthur was the one that died, letting the Joker persona fully take over. Lastly, since this was a complaint I do agree with, there would be a single stinger with young Bruce and Alfred, who never appear in this movie. Late one night, when Bruce awakened by the nightmare when his parents died, Alfred comforts him by preparing tea to help him get back to sleep. As a cauldron of bats flies by his window, one of them spreads its wings by the moon. Bruce instead image, spreading his arms at the man he will one day become. A Batman, as it were. Though I still submit the movie could gain a cult following, multiple prominent creators have expressed this sentiment, and for now it's safe to say that this Elseworld is done, especially with Phoenix and Phillips moving on to projects. In contrast to the major hit the first film was, this one grossed just $58 million domestically and $26 million worldwide on a $165 million to $200 million budget. To put this into proper context, the first made more than that its opening weekend alone. Likewise, while audiences seemed to defend the first movie more than professional viewers, this time they were in near perfect sync in their criticism. Even I, someone who arguably does their best to give what they see a benefit of the doubt, was not about overlooking its flaws as a story. Fortunately, with this and its predecessor falling under Elseworlds, its box office failure won't impact what James and Peter are doing with the DCU at all. I wish Phoenix and Phillips the best on their future endeavors, and I look forward to seeing other Joker variants in the near future. Barry Keoghan and the Reeves films, for example. No matter how many versions fail or succeed, the Joker as a whole will continue to endure as an icon for years. That's all, folks.